Hi, so in this video I'm going to throw a 3-pound cylinder out of this Navajo wheel clay. And so here's my wheel head. I have a bat on there. Whoops, gotta make sure my wheel's working. There we go. And it doesn't have the rings like the wheel head has. So one thing I'll do is take a little bit of clay off of this ball of clay, dip it in my water bucket and make it a little pencil, and I'll give myself a bullseye right there. Now I can put the round bottom of clay right onto the bullseye, give this a few rotations, tap it down. I'm going to try to keep this video direct. If you want a complete cylinder discussion, look at my other video, basic throwing of a smaller cylinder. This is going to be the starting point for a closed form that I'm going to do after I make the cylinder. So I'll do one video of a cylinder and one of a closed form. I'm going to use different centering techniques based on how the clay responds. So I'll often push forward and down, hold steady, and then ease off, right? Now I'm going to bring the clay up like this. So that's the pressure down towards my pinkies up into a tower. And as I put pressure down here, these fingers come up and put light pressure here, heavy pressure there. That's how you keep it from being a mushroom. The very top is quite a bit off, but it's so easy to center when it's tall like that. Let's do it one more time. So I'm squeezing the clay, and you'll see it kind of shoot up there at the top, and then I catch it as I go up. And I'll ease off, so I have a really tall tower. Bunch of water on there. Now I'm going to push the tower down by hooking over the top corner, locking my hands together, pushing it past center a little bit, holding myself really steady and coming on down. And when I get down here, I kind of lock into the push forward and down. My bat is moving a little bit. I had a thing to grip the bat under here, but it's really, really old and kind of dry. I don't think it was working very well. That's okay, I'll just make do. I like my bats to be stuck down. Actually, I prefer not to throw on a bat at all. I like the wheel head, but this wheel had bat pins, so I used the bat. Okay, I'm holding steady. Now, one thing is that this area right here can be really hard for people to center. A good way to do it is to pull like this. I learned a new technique. One of my students sent me another way. Another potter did it, which is like this. And so one hand there and the other hand pushing and holding and then easing off. So that was pretty good. So it puts pressure down there. I will often use this part of my hand and push it forward and hold really steady. And my pinky of this hand right here pushes into, and I just hold steady. So almost there. Spent a lot of time centering this. The clay was a little bit firm. It was some leftover hand building clay. So it wasn't straight out of the bag. I wedged it really well. It's a little bit firm. So get the slip on there. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. So now I'm going to open up with the thumb. Hold steady. Get some water. And I'm going to go down like this. Slow my wheel down a little bit. Go fast when you center, but not fast on any other step. Medium is good at these next steps. That's what I call medium, like that. And then I want to go down till I'm about 1 finger's thickness from the bottom. And I can tell that's about like that. So it feels pretty good. And now I'm going to pull out the floor. So I pull towards 6 o'clock where my other hand is. And then I go inside and I'm going to go back and forth on the floor to compress. That's why I start with a finger's thickness, but I end up with a lot thinner than a finger. A little bit of clay came off. That's okay. Better to take it off than have it be a lump. Best is to compress it in, which is what I'm doing now. So I go back and forth a few times, really compressing the bottom. All right, that feels pretty good. I'll compress the bottom more a little bit later. And now I got a thin edge right here. My hand kind of caught up against it. I hook my hand over that and then compress all of this. and then ease off. All right. And then I can also center right now and bring it back into more of a cone. There's my bat moving on me a little. So that was like that. Very red clay. It gets everywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to go in there, grab some clay, and pull my hands up like this. So this is the preliminary pull, pulling clay from the inside. And I just go up, and you'll see it like come up just a little bit taller. And then if I'm off a little bit, I'll pull that in. Just hold it steady. Okay, so now I'm ready to pull the wall up. And I'm going to work at 4 o'clock. And my left hand goes on the inside, my right hand goes on the outside. And with 3 pounds, it's a little different than what I typically do for smaller ones, is sometimes, if it feels right, I'll use my knuckle. So make a gun and put your thumb in next to your finger, roll your finger around your thumb, and then put the knuckle right there in that groove at the bottom. And then press with a little pressure from the inside finger, lock in everything. Slow my wheel down a little bit. And just roll up and put my nose over it here, and I'll pull right up to my nose. I'm going inward as I go up so that it doesn't fly out. And then as I get to the top, I lighten my pressure. So there, it's like there's almost no pressure at all. Come on. Lots of slip. It flared out at the very end, probably because I took my eye and I looked at the screen. Should have kept it right here. You tend to follow your nose. So if it flares, collar it in. You don't want it to be a cylinder at this point. You want it to be a tapered cylinder or cone. So I brought that in. I'm going to do a lot of collaring later when I bring this as a closed form. Right now, I'm going to just make a cylinder. So I'm going to go to the very bottom and I'm going to collar the whole thing taller and narrower and tapered. And now I'll ease off. All right, so that's much better. So that was one preliminary pull, one knuckle pull. Now I'm going to use a little water, get it on the inside's really dry. If you have like a really successful pull, usually it leaves a really dry surface. Flared that out again. Okay, now I'm going to use the sponge at my fingertips back at 4 o'clock. And my thumb is going to come on top, kind of like that, push down. And so now I get my nose over there, lean in a little bit. You'll see a big lump. Slow speed. Catch the lump with the outside hand. Get my nose over there this time. Hold steady. I have a thick top, so I'm going to make sure that I do carry my pressure all the way through this time. Usually I lighten quite a bit, but not when I feel like it's like thicker than I wanted it to be at the top. Put down the slip. Slip was all on my sponge. I'm going to put it right back on the pot. Collar in. You know, before I collar, I just noticed something. There's a little water on the inside. Use my sponge, get it out of there. And then let's do one more thing before I collar, which is to compress the bottom with the throwing stick. So these are great bamboo throwing sticks. I got all kinds of sticks I use, and I like them for bigger cylinders. So I hold it at a little angle backwards like this. I hold it at like 3 o'clock, and then I go to the middle of the clock, and then I go back out to 3 o'clock. And I'm pushing down. You guys can't see it, but you can imagine. I'll show you what it looks like when I pull it out. Pull it out like that. So it was at a back angle like that, and I'm compressing it down, and you can see it dug out a little bit of clay, just a little bit, not much. And the inside looks dry and compressed and much flatter. It looks much better. Okay, so this could be a 3-pound cylinder, but let's do one more pull. Try to get a little more height. And I'm going to do one collar, a light collaring to recenter. It's a little wobbly. And so I'm just holding my hands as steady as possible and slowly working my way up the wall and bringing it in at the top back to that taper. That's better. All that slip that just came off of my hands goes back on. And one more pull with my fingertips. I'm going to try not to put too much water on the inside, so slippery hands are good. I think I can do this, yeah. All right. This time I'm going to try to make this my last pull, so I'm going to really focus on doing a good job. It's dry on the inside, but I'm going to power through. Flaring out quite a bit on me. Now I drop my elbow and I'm going to lock in here. I can use my fingertips and try to thin out that ball a bit more. And then I'm going to push with my outside hand in a little bit because it's flaring. I'll ease off like that. Okay, so that didn't do too much, but it did even out the wall and it gave me a little bit of height. I feel like that's a good cylinder. So there's my 3-pound cylinder. For good measure, let's do one more collar and maybe a rib move and shut the video off, and I'll rejoin you if you want to see me do the closed form. I'll shape this cylinder into like a spherical shape. Bringing up the wall narrower and hopefully straighter and more centered as I go up. So there's one. I should call this the 3-pound tapered cylinder to be more accurate. And now I'm going to use the rib here, and I can go down to the bottom, press the clay inward a little bit, and now I'm going to press out into the rib, and I'll make this an actual cylinder instead of a tapered cylinder by pushing this out to the rib. And then my hand will go there to stabilize. Hold it all real stable. There we go. Light taper, and compress the rim with a chamois or a sponge in this case, like that. And this is a good starting point for all kinds of pottery forms. It can be a pitcher form, so that's about 8 inches tall, not the thinnest cylinder in the world, but it's perfect for the shape that I want to make it, I believe. Okay, my hands are dirty. I have to shut off the video.